Blessed love, this is Ras Tafari representing for the Lion's Voice. Seeing? Yeah, man. Keep it locked right here, sir. On to Zion we go. Lion voice don't move slow, no. Ras Tafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right here, sir. Seeing? Ras Tafari said that. Lion's Voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it's Exodus. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I too. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Ras Tafari.
Empress man, and I young science. Oh, you're wrong. Universally unfold, be told. Oh. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Ras Tafari.
Yo, blazing fire, yeah man, this is Ras Indio out of Belize, and the time has come for the lions to tell our own story, right? Yeah man, we blaze fire, burning the wicked and the dirty vampire. Yeah man, Ras Indio said that, blazing fire, lion boy.
Lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Yeah, Ras Tafari, Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Tell the people about Empress many. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, well, through the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see the city streets them flood. But when the hurricane blow down their wall, I'll be by your side and me now but think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, through the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see their city streets them flood. When the hurricane blow down our wall, I'll be by your side and me now but think I found the love of a lifetime. I made your light shine and unto I. Your light was a lifeline. I think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine and unto I. Your love was a lifeline. They say hurt people, hurt people. Maybe that's why Babylon them so evil. Maybe Babylon abused as a child. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Charles March Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Voice Live. Welcome to Lion Voice Live and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Today, two lionesses forwarding from the island of Trinidad and Tobago to reason on the third annual Ital Fest. These two empresses are from the Empress Men and Rising Collective. The item know we've had several sistren who represent from the Empress Men in Collective, the Lions Voice Network. We are a supporter of the Empress Men in Collective. Anything with them do, you know what I mean? Them have free waterway. This is their platform, just as this is the platform of many other community organizations around the world doing work. So anything that's positive to the forward movement, we're going to highlight. Big up Empress Sharon for the referral, always plugging I in with powerful sistrens on the ground. I say this, the Lion Voice Network, we have the most Trinidad Rastafari continent on the planet, on the World Wide Web, because we really value the work that's happening in Trinidad. It's a key island cultural superpower, same way in the Caribbean. So Rastafari impact there is very important to I and I. Remember, it was Dr. Eric Williams who caused His Majesty to come to the Caribbean with his invitation. This is how we get the powerful moment in Jamaica 1966 when the seals them bust and he set the captives free. Come and see his children in the flesh, take them from the slum. That moment was as a result of Caribbean, working in one accord in terms of the Dr. Eric Williams. So we have to big up Trinidad. Tonight is one of those episodes. Get your Ital snacks, get your meditation correct, and get prepared to be educated, because we're talking about food and food systems tonight. The item know if we cannot feed ourselves, we cannot free ourselves. And food is not just about the planting the seed, it's also about the entire value chain, the food chain. And these festivals are a key aspect in the food chain. It's a distribution point. You have the wider public that might for the first time be educated about Ital. So these type of festivals serve a valuable part of the value chain, and it's very important that we own all of the aspects as Rastafari of the food system. Big up Ras Zola, who coined the term Rastafari food sovereignty, and also coined the term Black food sovereignty. My elder that, big up yourself, Ras Zola, who is in Guyana right now, working with the Nyabing girls to transform. The Nyabing girls in Guyana have over 800 acres of land. We're going to have some representation from Guyana House on this platform. So if you're not subscribed and you don't know yet, this is the place where the forward movement is happening. So
only positive works on the platform. So just know that. Before we get into tonight's program, though, on the Ital, third annual Ital Food Fest, let me just take the time to big up the greatest online community on the planet. I'm biased, but you know how it go. The Lion Pride, big up on yourself. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. Lion Pride is expanding over 60,300 strong and rising. Me see the item grow over on TikTok. The Lion Pride start tech TikTok. The youth them platform is one of the joys. Over 800 subscribers on the TikTok, the new TikTok. If you're not following us over there, follow us over there. Cause whole heap of reasoning go on the TikTok. IG, we just launched. We're gonna get that going. We have the Facebook page just launched for the Lion Voice Network. We're gonna get that going. So the ecosystem is growing. YouTube is only one node in the overall Lion Voice ecosystem. We are redefining Ras Tafari independent non-aligned media. That is what the item is witnessing. And we have monthly subscribers who have seen the vision and say, yes, Ras, I am with the eye, shoulder to shoulder, to push this vision forward. These are not people who are complaining about what they want to see. These are people who are doing the work. So big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. Feel free to join us. I'll put up the link. Every time I reason with brethren and sisters out there, they say, yeah, man, we soon join. So I know the idea is going to work. I know that the ones them are pushing forward, you know what I mean? Big up I Never Know TV in the chat, you know what I mean? Big platform that, you know. So we have the Unity. And speaking of Unity, we have a massive webathon coming up February 1st. The RMO is hosting a massive event. I want the item to see what go on. Hold on there. And starting from next strong, we're going to be having a lot of content. I want to just demonstrate some of the Unity. Big up Ija Star, who has created a video he's running on his platform.
Open your eyes and wake up now, my people. See what Hurricane Melissa did to my people.
My people, RMO, Rastafari Mansion and Organization in association with DARK, EWF, CRO, RCC, IDOR, TRAN, Global Run present a fundraising webinar called Relief, Rebuild and Rise, the Rastafari community in response to Hurricane Melissa devastation of Jamaica. Sunday, February 1st, 2026. Time 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. This is not to be missed. Featuring Prince Ermiah Sehel Selassie, Dr. Julius Garvey, Sister Carol, Julian Marley, Rocky Dohoney, Empress Sativa, Gramps Morgan, Kabaka Pyramid, Yami Bolo, Muta Baruka, Janine, Spraga Benz, Riza Islam, Priest Kailash, Dr. Bobby Holistic. This is in aid of rebuilding Rastafari centers as hub for relief, recovery and resilience. As His Majesty say, we must become something we have never been. Greater in spirit, larger in outlook. Most High, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. See you there.
Unprecedented family, unprecedented works happening, collective works, 32 Rastafari organizations and Pan-African, because EWF is in there, so I have to put in the Pan-African. EWF is not a Rastafari organ. I Never Know TV, Rastafari in him heart, but he's Pan-African too, so we have to say the Pan-African. But we're coming together to put on this webathon. I feel like we can raise $7 million. It's out there. Latin America, Europe, the press release has gone out there. The British Voice, everybody has published this. You know what I mean? We have a publicist working with us. It's so mightyful to see the INITY coming together, the CRO involved, RCC, IDOR, you know what I mean, Dark Foundation. This thing is massive. So make sure next strong, February 1st, put it on the calendar, 11 a.m. Lion Voice Network, we are sponsoring some of the editing work. So we are working diligently to ensure that this production is of that imperial standard. So make sure you support. It's going to be pay-per-view. The link is going to be everywhere Monday. So get ready. People asking, where is the something? The link is a pay-per-view link. So you can watch for a nominal fee and it'll be up after the event. So that's the way we'll get contribution. And then when you go into the event, if you want to give more, you're free. But we're going for 1 million people, family around the world. We're going to test the power of Rastafari next Sunday. So make sure that the item tune in. Mighty works, historic works, rebuild, relief, and rise. Reimagining what Rastafari will look like in Jamaica, as only I and I can. Big up Ramia King Design. When you see Iman sipping during the episode, he's supporting a Rastafari business. We have ad packages now ready for Rastafari Pan-African businesses. If you are an artist, you want to launch a single, we have a package for the eye. You're an author, you have a book, you want to get it in front of an audience. The Lion Pride, who's very generous, we have a package for the eye. The item have a hair care product, whatever. Part of the reason we built this platform is to provide a space for I&I commerce, an audience that is already conscious. We're not trying to fit in on somebody else's platform. We have people who in the liberty or love the liberty or seek the liberty. So get your product in front of these ones. Send us a message. We're working with businesses. So all of that real estate and you see is just I&I products right now. You're going to see as we evolve more ones, product, all of that space is available for the global family to make this ecosystem a fully functional creative ecosystem. So stay tuned. We're going to be sharing that. Big up Wally King's Design, big up Frontline Books. Next Saturday, we're going to have a double feature. We'll be announcing Reading Ras on the Front Line, A Reason with Elder Sekou. We're going to be announcing what 3 books are the books of January. And then we have a special edition that we're going to be hosting next Saturday early in the morning. Let me also tell you, I had a reason with an Asian from Dominica, Bongo. Wow, from Dominica, fugitive from the law. I was like in a blockbuster movie. I can't wait to share that with the item. Imagine a contemporary of Ras Kabinda. You know what I mean? It went through brutality, torture, through the Dread Act in Dominica. We got to reason with these elders. It's serious thing, armed struggle. Wissy jungle lion, you know what I mean? So get ready for that episode coming down the pipeline. The lions are telling our own story. It's happening, people, and it's because of the item. Big up on yourself, Lion Pride, every time. All right, so let's get into the episode now. Family, let us take some time to head down to the beautiful Isles of Trinidad and Tobago and to welcome 2 Empress from the Empress Men in Rising family. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Empress Carissa and Empress Juma. Royal greetings and blessings. Let me unmute the eye. I don't know why your camera is on the side.
Blessed love.
But we never panic. Greetings, Empress Juma. You clear?
Yes, I blessed love. Give thanks.
Aile. Perfect love. All right, all right. So, um, we're going to start with introductions. We're honored to have the eye on the platform again. Big up all Empress Men and Rising. It looked like it's a massive collective of the item working together because every time I'm meeting new faces, you know what I mean? I've heard about Empress Juma from Empress Sharon, but I had the pleasure of now meeting Empress Carissa. So just take time and introduce the item self, and give us just a little brief history of the item. Two sisters also out of the Bobo Shanti order. So just give us a little background on the item, where the item trod from in Trinidad, and how the item trod it to Rastafari Livity. We want to start with the eye, Empress Juma, or you want to go
All
Empress
right.
Carissa? Go ahead.
What do you think? I go?
Yeah, man, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Give thanks. Well, first and foremost, I want to bring greetings in the name of Rastafari. You know, we give thanks for the Holy Trinity, the Prophet, Priest, and King. We give thanks for the Honorable Empress, Queen Omega, and I give thanks for life and the mighty life giver, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie Jah, Rastafari. And we give thanks for the Sabbath day that has gone by. You know, as it's at the same time, it's the beginning of a new strong. You know, so we give thanks for all powers, all divine guidance moving forward. Give thanks to I honorable host, the Lion's Voice, Judge Mark Kwasi, for having us this evening. Give thanks to I colleague as well, Sister and Empress Carissa. Give thanks for the Ital Food Festival. Give thanks for Empress Men and Rising. Give thanks for all Rastafari children worldwide, and the Almighty Himself for making this moment possible. My name is Mwanajuma Xavier. Within the Rastafari community, most know me as Empress Juma. I am a member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, otherwise known as the Bobo Shanti Order. And I am a Ital chef, Italist, social entrepreneur, aspiring farmer, and community servant in Rastafari. So give thanks.
Give thanks, give thanks. And where were you born in Trinidad?
Where I was born in Trinidad is in Toronto, Canada.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
You're from
I
my
was born
grove.
and yes, I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. My father is Trinidad born and raised, you know,
Okay.
and I migrated here.
Okay. And your
Yes,
mother's from Toronto?
my mother is from Switzerland,
Okay.
but yeah, my parents met back in the day in Toronto, and that's where they had their family, raised their family. My father is from a place in Trinidad called Lavantil, which is a huge place or a small place,
Okay.
depending
Okay.
on your experience, depending how you look at it. You know, so
Yes.
that's where my family originally hails from. It's town people, although we have
Okay.
roots in the country as well. We have roots in Tobago as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so give thanks for
Where
that.
in Toronto did you grow up? Did I grow up?
Well, I had a feeling you would ask me this question. You're familiar with Honesteds? You remember Honesteds?
Yes,
Lauren
yes,
Bathurst
yes.
and DuPont. So
West
that
End.
whole junction, yeah, that West Side proper, downtown Toronto proper, that particular area is a very historical area for Black Canadian history
Yes,
and African Caribbean history on the whole, because that was one of the, you know, when Canada started to experience one of its big immigration booms in the late
yes,
1960s, many who had not had the opportunity prior to that were invited into the country because there was a whole multicultural agenda going on. That
yes,
particular area of the city is very well known, even up to now, for a lot of Black and
yes.
Caribbean business pioneers, you know, families who struggled and raised their children and came up hard and made very great names for themselves as
Okay.
business owners in that particular community.
Yeah, man. I grew up in
Yeah.
Scarborough. You know,
Okay.
I'm a Scarborough. First I was at Midland and Lawrence, and then from there to Brimley and Steeles. You know,
Okay. Yep.
yes. So that's a joy. Anytime I buck up with people from Toronto is a joy. Very strong
For sure.
Caribbean culture from
Yes,
there.
absolutely. Yeah.
So what made the I leave Toronto and return to Trinidad, to your father's homeland?
Well, I would say it's the beginning of my repatriation journey, really, because growing
So
up,
it's from Toronto.
pardon me,
They embrace Rastafari from Toronto.
from birth.
From
From birth,
birth.
as my elders say, as my elders say, from birth,
Yeah.
But it was not until I was a young adult, had the opportunity to visit Trinidad for the first time as a young adult, because growing up we were more, bare necessities. We didn't have family vacations. We didn't have the opportunity to everybody travel together like that. But my father used to come back home and visit occasionally.
Yes.
And he had, just filled our minds and our hearts with so many stories of the beauty of life in the tropics. From a young age, I was really fascinated with the idea that I could have visited or even lived in the tropics.
Okay.
And when I was in my early 20s, I visited, took my first trip to Trinidad on my own. I stayed with family, of course. I was already rootical. We grew up in a very Black radical rootical household.
Okay.
No apologies, no questions asked.
Okay.
It was strictly roots and culture in our home.
Yeah.
So I was already in tune with Rastafari in terms of some of the symbology, a lot of the messaging, as you mentioned, Elder Razola. Razola was one of the first Rastaman I know in flesh, right? Along with others like Ras Rico from Guyana, Rastafari community workers, Rastafari community angels, ministering angels in the community. I grew up exposed to that. But not until I visited Trinidad for the first time. I remember on that plane, on that flight, I was reading Rasta and Resistance by Horace Campbell. So I was in post-secondary school at the time. I was getting that culture as well through African studies and Caribbean history courses. When I landed in Trinidad for the first time and really looked around and really started to check myself, I only realized then that Rastafari was a living and breathing livity. It wasn't just, before that, I think for me, it was just a sort of a collection of different ideas or different songs or different symbols, but coming across Rastafari people and seeing how vast the livity was, it wasn't just one type of thing. That really opened my eyes and really opened my consciousness and opened my heart as well, and just gave me that that longing to experience a different life than what I had grown up into.
Serious. And you gravitated obviously to the blackness. What made I gravitate to EIBC, to the Bobo Shanti, which is strict black supremacy and all these things?
Well, my first integration into Rastafari, I'd be proud to say, was mostly through the Nyabingi order. Even in Toronto, there's a Nyabingi community. Yes. And they used to hold Ises for different celebrations. I remember me and my sisters trotting through the snow on a bus. You have your long skirt and your winter boots underneath. And yes. So I have very fond memories of, I'd seen up a lot of chants and just overstanding. Even the Ital, was a very eye-opening component, how the Ital is ministered at the Nyabingi Ises and things like that.
Family. Yes.
Yeah, it was real delightful. Coming into the Bobo Shanti order, I think my first introduction was probably through music. I think the first person who I heard say Holy Emmanuel I Selassie I Jah Rastafari was definitely Sizzla. At that time, I didn't really it wasn't resonating with me at the time, but the
Yes.
messaging and the discipline within the music, the unapologetic love for I blackness,
Yes.
which was my culture, that connected with me.
Okay.
When I reached in Trinidad, I started to meet individuals, you know, empresses and prophets and priests who were of the Bobo Shanti order. I was always drawn to it initially from that royal and regal representation, the discipline for both males and females in terms of the behavior, the
Yes.
style of dress. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to say military, but militant. You know,
Militant.
that was easy for me because the type of father that we had growing up, I mean, you couldn't play. There was no mistakes. There was no time for sorry. Everything had to be right and right on time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I learned, when I met my Kingman, who I'm with up to now, I learned a lot more in depth, you know, what Rastafari family life was about, the purification order for empresses, the sabbatical order, and everything. It just felt natural. It wasn't any additional effort. As a matter of fact, what draws me to the Bobo Shanti order is almost the privacy and the isolation that we sometimes use to nourish us. You know,
Yes.
that it's not a negative effect. That going within and keeping to yourself, that
You
that
see,
served a great purpose.
stick up in. You see, the Lion Pride is tuning in and says, Lavin Till, where her fathers came from, is a deadly place. It's true.
It's deadly. It's also lively. It's anyone who lives there can tell you it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
two-edged sword. It has everything.
Right.
It
Yeah,
has
man.
everything. Yes, it has death and destruction. You know, it has poverty and ignorance, but it's not on a greater level than anywhere else.
Okay.
Right? Because, you know, Bob Marley used to talk about some people are so rich, all they have is money.
Yes.
So I will say this too, you know, an outsider talking about Lavantil or even as a tourist visiting Lavantil is a very different experience to living
In
in
Laventille.
Lavantil. Yeah,
Okay.
you know, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of good people. If you look into Trinidad and Tobago history in arts and culture, a lot of our greatest cultural icons come from behind the bridge,
Okay.
you know.
Serious.
So I am always comfortable there. I am always happy and humble
Yes,
to
yes.
spend time there up to now.
Give
You know,
thanks.
it's not to be judged so simply.
Yes, yes,
Definitely.
yes. Give thanks.
Hmm.
All right. So
Give
I'm gonna
thanks.
bring forward the next the next Empress here.
That's it. That's
Um
it.
give thanks for that. Empress Carissa. Same thing now. We want to hear about the I history. Where was the I born in Trinidad and what was the I journey to Rastafari?
So love, give thanks, honorable. Give thanks for having I and I on this platform here, and you know, love, strength, and goodness for the works that the I is doing all over the world. You know, it's important for ones that wants to know about Rastafari and the goodness of it, and the goodness of the liberty, and you know, break those misconceptions and myths, and really let the truth come out as well. So, give thanks for the I. My
I.
name is Carissa Achat, and I hail from South Trinidad, San Fernando, and my family is from deeper south, which would be like Superior, Santa Flora, Faizabad. So
Okay.
currently, I reside in the capital, Port of Spain or St. Anne's.
Okay.
And this is where I function for maybe like the last 17, 18 years.
Okay. And,
Um,
and the I went to school in Trinidad, always been in Trinidad.
Yes, my studies have been in South and then to the university. I studied in many Catholic institutions, and then I took my further degrees in University of the West Indies in Trinidad. My background with that would be communications, linguistics, and speech and language pathology.
Their parents are also from Trinidad.
Yes, I
How
come from a diverse background. Both sides have some Chinese, and
okay.
we have basically everything, you know, what they call Calon mix up.
Yes.
We have some,
And what
you know,
made the
first
eye gravitate?
Indigenous as well.
What was it that made the eye gravitate to the blackness? Because obviously that is the hardest path that the eye chose. Why? What made the eye gravitate to your black lineage?
Well, it comes from my paternal side. My paternal grandfather and his mother, they were the Africans, you know, and to date, my grandfather is still alive at 100 years old. Give thanks for life. And it was natural, you know. I mean, I don't think I gravitated to it consciously, you know.
Yes.
Growing up, we listened to all kinds of music, you know, R&B, slows, country music, calypso. We were exposed to a lot. So we didn't have one particular, you know, liking to anything. And as I said, we were raised in a Catholic church. But, you know, when I grew independently and I saw certain things, it just didn't mesh with my, you know, with what I felt naturally. This couldn't be right, you know.
Yes.
And, you know, the quiet moments when I met cannabis were the greatest times of reflection and, you know, listening to music, listening to the reggae music and, you know, just developing that personal appreciation for the positive energies, you know. And so I can't say, you know, I knew Selassie or Ras Tafari through anything but music in the first instance, you know.
Okay, yes. And that's a gateway for many of us. You know, that's where most of us hear about, you know, His Majesty. So big up the singers and the players of instruments. Because they have done their
so instrumental.
work. So what made the eye, what was that epiphany moment that made the eye sight the divinity of His Majesty?
Well, you know, well, I had started growing my locks independently after university, etc. And, you know, on my journey, just, you know, reading my Bible, looking for scriptures, and I landed a new job in the Ministry of Agriculture. And, you know, I sighted my king man, you know, across a car park, and, you know, we connected as at that time, Ras Tafari wasn't really in the workplace. It was rare too, you know. So it was just, you know, that moment, and we met, we connected, and I learned more. He was already Ras Tafari. He was already following the Boba Shanti Livity for 6 years. And this was my first time knowing anything about it, you know. So, you know, my celebration, my first celebration in the yard was amazing. It was profound, you know, hearing the drums, chanting the praises, you know, and you know, I don't think there was any turning back after that, you know. And,
Give thanks.
you know, the naturalness and the one love and, you know, just respect for I and I as gods and goddesses, you know, our temple as our body. These are the things that would have drawn me in closer, you know. So I give thanks for the journey.
And I must say, I sent some pictures for the thumbnail, and one had your family. You have a beautiful family, you know.
Yes, I
need to have the Eye and the Kingman on Lion Love. I have a program called Lion Love. You know, we want the love stories to inspire our young people about Ras Tafari families. The Eye same way, Empress Juma. All right, so we're gonna you know, I like to get some sounds about the item history so that when you're talking, it's not just talking heads. You know, people can kind of get a feeling of the story and who's delivering, because when you talk about the Ital Fest, you're talking about the root of Rastafari. So not everybody can carry that load there, you know. So we see these sisters are very grounded in the Livity. They're not just coming, new to the thing and just run out on the stage. So I want the item to just explain to I and I about the Ital Fest. Anyone is free to jump in. Give us the history of how this event came to being.
Well, they say great minds think alike, and Empress Juma and I had the idea independently of each other. But the Ital Food Festival really came about when I took the initiative to really get it started. Was after COVID or during COVID when I had the chance to just be exposed to what people were buying, people's choices. But prior to that, I was living in the mountain, basically out of the system, homeschooling my children. My husband is a farmer. So we kind of just live to ourselves, as Empress Juma alluded to, that isolation life. But during COVID, I said, okay, let me go there and just give us strength. So I got this job to work in a specialty kind of grocery. And I mean, these people could afford things. They had money. And, I was just alarmed and alerted to, wow, people are not making the connection between food and their health. And it
Yes.
was a big education gap, I thought, just a simple lack of conscious decision. So we thought about it and we decided it needed to have some unique festival, something special to show people what the Livity is about, to show people that healthy eating is a choice, it's a viable option. Not censoring meat is something that people need to think about a little more. We needed to just have some more education on our food and the direct impact it makes on our system. So that's how it really came about.
Give thanks. Empress Juma, you can add to that.
Sure. Yes, give thanks, Empress Carissa, for those words. And yes, I can remember very vividly the first conversation that Empress Carissa and I had, concerning the Ital Food Festival. And I definitely told her in that time, it was like, me too, I have the same kind of idea too. And I had been keeping so quiet about it, and I really want to, on this platform and even on other platforms as well, give thanks and congratulate Empress Carissa for her courage. I've told her this before, I said, I found you very brave, because when the ball got rolling, Empress Carissa got that ball rolling rapidly, very rapidly. And I wouldn't even say downhill. You know how like when a snowball rolls downhill, it gathers size and it gathers speed. I mean, Empress Carissa has been pushing this ball uphill and gathering. She has done a tremendous amount of work in a very short space of time, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
And I could definitely, even from this standpoint now, going into the third year of the festival, when I meditate and I reflect, I could definitely see that, as you mentioned, my Lord, this is not something overnight. This is not as we say, hurry, come, bring, come, now come idea. This is something that, has been the seed has been planted in ancient times.
Yes.
And I think that's I think I can safely say on behalf of the community, on behalf of the Ras Tafari community, on behalf of the Ital community in Trinidad and Tobago, that, we must give thanks for that one who really lit that fire, that initial fire. And I see Empress Carissa as that Empress, with the support and the strength, of community members as we continue to build a team. I think I look at Ital Food Fest as a potential institution, which we need to continue to build and create institutions as in the Ras Tafari community. As I rightfully said, Ras Tafari, the ideal is that Ras Tafari will own and inspire every aspect of an event like this, you know, in the long run, because it impacts so many aspects of the community on many different levels. And it's really necessary, you know, it's really vital. And I can see the Ital Food Festival even continuing to inspire more events and more similar events, more like-minded events like this in the future. Yeah, so I give thanks for, you know, I give thanks for its humble beginnings, and I give thanks to see where it's going to go from this point. Give thanks.
Give thanks, give thanks. I think there's nothing but positivity. You know, a lot of people have ideas, but I have maximum respect for ones who execute the idea. You know, there's gonna be flaws, there's gonna be failures of certain goals, but that is part of the process, you know, of building anything. Our children don't get born and then just get up and start run track, you know. They start to creep, they crawl, they fall, they get up again, and everything is like that. So I really commend the item as a brethren who has also been on the battlefield. I love it. And Empress Juma, the eye, coming off of the lineage of a Ras Zola, you know, it's such a joy to see the eye, you know, leaving Toronto and going to Trinidad and giving that strength. You know what I mean? What I would love to know is how the item see this festival. You know, how I spoke to the sister in them is that there has to be an Ital food system, you know, supply chain system from the farmers who are planting the Ital, you know. So is there a farmers market as part of the food festival? Is that component there, or the item connecting with the farmer? Well, let me not ask multiple questions. Let's start right there. Are the item connected with the farmers in Trinidad, who are farming Ital?
Bless the love. We did have the word out to bring in some farmers to have a market for fresh
Yeah,
produce. So we are
beautiful.
looking into that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Cause that's an important aspect. You know what I mean of Ital Fest is that our farmers. This should be a distribution point, end distribution point for the larger system. You know what I mean? So if we know every year we have a certain amount of festivals, this is like wide, because a festival like this, people will fly in from all around the world to attend a festival if it, you know, if it gets the right marketing and things, especially food, because you have a lot of foodies. You know, the item know what a foodie is.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, people just love food. You know what I mean? So if it's marketed the right way, you can get that kind of traffic. And now this becomes a place where the Ital shops, you know, and I know Empress Juma has an Ital shop. And we want to hear about that business, Taitu's Kitchen. Um, you know, the Ital shops now can have a distribution point. The farmers have a distribution point, and also the value-added products. You know, do you have anyone who's selling value-added products, honey in jars? You know, there's dispute whether honey is Ital. Typically, is you know what I mean, is Ital, and I think that's where Ital might have a slight difference from vegan. Um,
Correct.
but you know, the value added products, is there a space for ones to bring value added products, and is there a space for ones for the Ital shops?
Yes, all of the above, right? So the whole market vibe of the Ital Food Festival has been growing from year to year. And so this year we definitely intend and we expect to have probably the biggest market area than we would have had in the previous 2 years. We've had a tremendous response when we put out a call for vendors. We've had a tremendous response so far. I want to respond to the question about the organic farmers and the organic produce.
Yes.
I definitely agree that we all agree how crucial this is, this aspect of the Ital Food Festival. From what I have observed so far, it may not grow as quickly as some of the other aspects of the marketplace, such as prepared food and the value-added products. And so far, we have a great diversity in both
Okay.
of those areas. You know, we even have a category for craft vendors, things that are not edible, but we
Yes.
are trying to, we are trying to gently educate and enlighten the community as we recruit, and build this business network, because we are looking to stick within the theme of Ital Livity.
Yes.
The
Yes.
food is the central excitement of this event.
Yes, of course.
Everything else is kind of a far second. But even amongst the craft vendors, we want to encourage ones to be very mindful and intentional what kind of crafts that they're bringing. For instance, we may not be so encouraging of leather goods,
Yes.
because this Ital Food Festival promotes love and kindness of all living things, including animals,
Yes.
right? So if we, like right now, we are trying to source wholesale amounts of things like calabash or
Yes.
sustainable or natural eating utensils to stick within
Okay.
the Ital theme,
Yes,
things that
I.
persons could take home and make little changes, or improve the eco love of their whole liberty. I think where the organic farming is concerned, um, putting together an event like this and trying to reach out to organic farmers. We all know people who are planting without using pesticides. We all know people who are planting organically and who are highlighting that natural liberty. I think, and I don't want to open up this conversation too wide, but I think that maybe this is for another episode, but in my opinion, Trinidad is in a food crisis, especially when we are looking at the lack of affordable and sustainable options for the general population to eat food organically, not just because your neighbor has a green fig tree or your neighbor has a mango tree. So these things don't necessarily need chemicals and these kind of chemical enhancements to grow wonderful, nutritious food. But I'm talking about a concerted and intentional effort for ones to overstand the dangers and the health risks and the disease forming properties of non-organic foods and foods that are heavily sprayed. So I think the education needs to really, really increase, not only to encourage the consuming public to make better food choices, but even to let these organic farmers, which are so undervalued right now, be celebrated as food champions and food heroes for not bowing to the whole, mass production and the agricultural chemical industry, which Trinidad specializes in producing and manufacturing chemicals as well. So the education must increase. And as Empress Carissa will tell you, education is one of the cornerstones of the Ital Food Festival as well, not just buying and selling and you go home. What have you learned? What will you maybe doing differently? And the festival also, besides the buying and selling aspect, the festival also includes a big knowledge component, as we mentioned, and we're looking to fill, a tent with educational and edifying speakers from within the region who will also touch on these topics, so that Trinidadians will realize that it's not just a local issue. These are issues that we all need to understand and know about, how it's affecting the Caribbean. What are the trends, positive and negative, that allow people to make their own food choices and better food choices? And I humbly say, Trinidad has a lot of work to do in that area. So we're hoping to expand that regional knowledge so that we can even learn from other communities in other Caribbean societies how these transformations were done.
I want the item. I'm one of the emissaries of Ras Zola, you know what I mean? And I want the item really introduce this concept of Rastafari food sovereignty, and black food sovereignty. to the Ital Fest, to the reasonings, because we need to really, especially what's happening next door to the item in Venezuela, especially, we see increased instability, disruption of the global shipping and supply chains that has the potential to really impact imports in the Caribbean. As Rastafari, we should be leading the charge in food self-sufficiency and food sovereignty, meaning that everything we consume, we should be planting and we should be growing. Before I go to the eye, let me just big up Lion Pride and Patreon member, Mr. Ayaras, checking in. Greetings, my Lord and Empress, Kwasi, Empress Juma, Empress Carissa, all of the Rastafari family. Give thanks, royal family. Blessed love, Rastafari. Big up yourself, King, on the check-in. All Lion Pride and Patreon, we love the item. Give thanks for the item support. Empress Carissa, hearing what Empress Juma said, talk to us about some of the challenges that the eye has faced in putting together this type of event, and where is the strength needed, because a lot of times we'll see Sistren putting these works and people just watching on the fence and waiting to see if it's going to fail or if it's going to work, and not calling Empress Carissa and saying, what do I need, Sistren? What kind of help do I need? And we want Bonafire on the Lion Voice Network. We have to stop that. You know what I mean? You see two Sistren, them will do some great work, or two families, because I'm sure their kingman them are assisting them. Two families put themselves in sacrifice on the battlefield, and as a wider community, we don't need to just show up at the last moment. We need to understand this is valuable intellectual property being put forward, and the presentation impact all of us as Rastafari once it step out as Ital. So we need to get active. So what are some of the challenges that the I have? I know we've reasoned and the I share some with I, in terms of sponsorship, other things. And this sister also linked with our good sister Empress Idija in St. Vincent and the Ital Fest as well. So we're gonna have the item on a panel too. This is just part one, once you come on this platform, you're part of the family. So this is just part one. But share with us some of the challenges, and what if the I had the ability to just manifest what you want, what would you be manifesting right now?
Give thanks. Well, as you mentioned, the Ital Food Festival really, it really exemplifies multi-level collaboration. At least it has a room for that. From grassroots to corporate to government, it has the potential to link, everything within the ecosystem or the community, and further to that, it backs up a lot of the national developmental strategies or goals that are in place, So for something so worthy and so tangible, I think we can have greater collaboration, greater support financially to really bring the Ital Food Festival on a national level, to really highlight, ancestral and African and indigenous people's knowledge of food and culture and heritage, to really bring that out and remind people of those important things about connecting to the land, how we should be really valuing the land that we live in, there's so much information out there in the vegan world that has been, going on for so long, more than 10 years. And, it's fact-based research, it's peer-reviewed work regarding, the negative effects of having such a meat-rich or animal industry agriculture, animal industrial agriculture. So, bringing this kind of information to people to connect the negatives with the positives of taking better care of yourself, taking better care of the environment, and taking better care of each other in a community, making more conscious choices, knowing that one choice will affect another thing. This is the kinds of things that I would like to come out of Ital Food Festival. So getting people to support the vision and financially to ease our burdens would be great, you know.
Yes.
Getting Ras Tafari to also see their part to play, their role in this festival, knowing that it's theirs, I'm just creating this opportunity. And it's for ones and ones to show that interest and really to find a way in and showcase the liberty, because this is
Yes.
what it's
Yes.
about. So I mean, I can't go knocking on everybody's door and saying, yes, come, come. I mean, we have been doing that. We have been searching out the serious Italists, but it's for
Yes.
ones
Yes.
and ones to see their place and say, yes, I have something to show, something to contribute, and really take ownership as well.
Give thanks. Is they are in communication with the All Mansion in Trinidad there?
Yes.
Okay. Are they participating or supporting or endorsing of the Ital Food Fest?
Yes, they will in some way, yes.
Give thanks. Give thanks. We want that unity. And what
Yeah.
about Empress Men and Rising? Is Empress Men and Rising have any role to play?
Definitely, most definitely. Empress Men Rising has always been present, year 1 and year 2 and year 3. They will be present as well. Some of the sisterns will come out and sell some of their products.
Yes.
And further to that, they will also support in the children's tent, the children's activities that we will have.
Oh, beautiful. So tell us more about that. I love that part, the children activities. Tell us, paint a picture. What can people, what's the date of the Ital Food Fest, and what can people expect when they forward?
The Ital Food Festival will be held on the March 15th, Sunday, March 15th, 2026 in Port of Spain, St. Anne's, Port of Spain. And you can look forward to many different components. It's a family event. All are welcome. We invite the curious, the vegans, the plant-based persons, the health conscious, the eco-conscious. All are welcome. We have some guest speakers coming in, as Empress Juma mentioned.
Okay.
They will touch on various aspects of what it is to be Ital and why, and center plants and why is plants so important, and not just our food, but we'll have somebody from Akila Jaramogi from Ponzaman. They've always been present as well to show us, the value of the rainforest and, why we need to take care of it. We also have somebody from the Wildlife Center. They rehabilitate animals.
Okay.
That's also a feature that the children love. They get to be in contact with these animals.
I just found out that Trinidad had anacondas and them something there. So close
that
to
won't
South
be there,
America.
though.
Yeah.
But they will have, they do have snakes and
yes.
a range of animals that really just excite the children,
Okay. So it is a full experience.
Yeah, one of the major highlights as well would be a wellness area where you can come and just get some restorative health, maybe a massage or do a yoga session.
Okay, nice.
So we have someone else coordinating that session. So
beautiful. It sounds very
try to encompass, the entire Livity and show that, we all need to make better choices for our health as well as the planet,
Yes. I love it. It sounds very exciting. March 15th, everyone needs to put it in their calendar. I'm going to ask the same question, Empress Juma. What are some of the challenges that the eye has seen in organizing? And if the eye could just manifest strength, what kind of strength would the eye manifest right now? Hold on 1 second. You're muted. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Give thanks. Great question. Well, those who know the eye, and Empress Carissa has heard me speak about this as well too. When it comes to community work, especially, revolutionary empowerment work like what Empress Men and Rising is doing, what the Ital Food Festival is doing, and what so many others are doing. To me, I'm a lover of processes, and I love team building and empowerment. So I think that from my humble perspective right now, I think that the greatest challenge is building and holding together that organizing team for an event like this. As we speak about so often, the harvest is great and the laborers are few. Now, that doesn't have to be a bad thing when you have few laborers, because if those few can really stick together, listen to one another, support one another, take initiative, make decisions in a respectful way, where we are centralizing everything to the Most High Rastafari, I think that is the greatest challenge, but also the most welcome challenge at the same time. What I would love to see in terms of that process with the Ital Food Festival is building a committee that can sustain, and we're working basically 365 days a year. So in other words, when the event is wrapped up and everybody goes home and goes to rest, what's happening the next day? And this is where I speak about building the Ital Food Festival as an institution. The Ital Food Festival and events like it have so much potential to serve the community. Empress Carissa and I often speak about having outreach events. What are some other events that we can hold throughout the year, branching off and exactly, and still highlighting the Ital Livity, creating learning spaces. So I want to highlight that team building, and then attached to that is outreach throughout the entire year. The team who is responsible for organizing and manifesting the Ital Fest, we also still have to keep working together, building together, learning from one another in the so-called off season. And I think that the community will respond greatly to that, because if you see the type of crowd and the way that the crowd has increased even from year 1 to year 2, we're expecting even more people in the 3rd year. And it shows that there really is a market for this. There's a genuine interest for this. It's not just vegans or vegetarians or Italists that come to the Ital Festival. It's all kinds of people from all the communities. So if we take a look at that, we know how we can really take this to another level. One of the challenges that I would say we had in the first couple years was that we had to charge an admission fee, because again, the event is not heavily funded as yet. So the admission fee helped to cover the cost of the event. The 3rd year, the event is going to be free. So that is a challenge that we are now addressing in that creative way, but we'll still have the challenge of fundraising. So I would also flag that as one of the challenges, but something also to look forward to, because in all of this is that grounds for relationship building. And when I speak to, small business owners in my village, in my community where I live, for instance, I spoke to a brethren, and he said, well, I'll definitely come to the event, but I'm not in the food business, so I don't see how, I could contribute to that. And so I left him another message to say, what, brethren, it's not only food businesses that can participate and uplift this event. It's about like-minded persons coming together and giving whatever resources they have. Not everybody's going to be an Ital chef, but the Ital Food Festival requires all kinds of contributions from many levels of business, even ones that are not directly related to food. But as we know from, for instance, you have huge bank corporations or insurance corporations, then they might have a day where it's like, staff give back day. I remember seeing that when I used to work on the farm with the African Food Basket in Toronto. We had groups from banks and groups from corporations coming to, pull weeds for a day or help us clean the greenhouse or things like that. So you're still giving towards the liberty, and you're giving towards the greater good. So I think that education component is really central, to how we build the event and how we grow the event, and helping others to understand what connections they can make in their personal work or in their business. That's a massive effort. And in that sense, we do really need that. We do really need to grow and build and maintain that team so that we can share that type of outreach. I hope that answers the question.
Definitely. I love it. I love what I'm hearing because it's something that's in motion, and the vision. And before we seal up, I hope that the item have a link that we can share, that ones who want to contribute who are not in Trinidad. Because my vision, and my audience know my vision, is that my 60,000 subscribers would see this interview and send the item $10, which would be over $500,000 US in your account in the morning. That's my vision for my guests. Every time I bring a guest forward, my vision is that the Lion Pride does rally, because then now they would have the full funding to do the festival. They could pay a staff. They could plan out for a year out the budget and the activations. We have the power to do that as an audience. And this is what I want the Lion Pride to understand, how serious collective security can be. And it only costs an individual $10. So I hope the item have a link. We're going to test out how many tonight are going to give a contribution to the item, and we can put a link in the description as well, so that ones who watch this, because most people will watch this on the replay, they can also give a attribution. And we'll probably have the item come forward before the festival as well again, so that we can also get some additional strength. I want to big up Ras Roots with the $5 super chat. Big up yourself, Ras Roots, welcoming Empress Carissa and Empress Juma. Lion Pride on Patreon, setting the example. I don't want the item leave Ras Roots lonely, Put down $1 and support the platform. You have Ras Roots out here every episode. I hold up the thing. So to the Lion Pride, please give the brethren some company. We are building a machine here with the Lion Voice Network. So even $1, we appreciate love. Speaking of funding, I'm going to go forward to Empress Carissa. I want the eye to dream, or not to dream. I want the eye to vision big. Let us say that the Lion Pride, the Lion Voice Network, forward the eye $1 million in your bank account tomorrow morning. What does the Ital Food Fest look like? How are you gonna utilize that funds? So in other words, I want the eye to vision without money being an obstacle. What could this look like? Because I think it's very important for us to visualize, because if we want to achieve and manifest Zion on earth, we have to let our irids, do that work. So what does that look like, Empress Carissa?
First of all, Ital Food Festival would be on a national level, like
Yes.
a football game or carnival event,
Yes,
that we would be able to have a venue that could host that magnitude of people,
yes,
and that we'll be able to, the money would definitely be able to put up the infrastructure. I wouldn't want any tents and plastic at the event, I would want it to be made with earthy materials. All the booths, everything would be, that kind of natural rustic vibe. I would even recreate a rainforest vibe where people could come and learn about different trees or different plants that are medicinal or herbal, or just understand what happens in a rainforest and what's the significance of it. I would have a museum where there would be information. Well, it wouldn't be really a museum, but that concept where people could come and see little documentaries. You press a knob and you can get to hear, a statistic that 2/3 of the world's land population is used for animal agriculture or food for animals versus food for humans, stuff like that, that it can really ricochet with people, why it is we really need to increase our consumption of plants, or why we really need to appreciate the land that the planet Earth, Mother Earth. So it would just be a room filled with different statistics and different information that at any time somebody could come and press play and hear that information. What else? Games, fun eating games, challenges, just to bring it to life, and live demonstrations,
Yes. That really brings in the people. Let me say that when people can come and get samples and eat, and that is, when you look at the big food festivals and you can try out different things, that really brings attraction. And it also drives commerce because people get a little sample now, they want to get the whole thing. So you should definitely
So all of
encourage
our
it.
vendors do give samples.
Okay, beautiful,
So
beautiful.
that would have been one of the challenges, getting companies like big companies who do have plant-based goods to come and contribute to us to give out, samples in that nature as well.
Yes, and it's
That
gonna
would be
come.
great.
It's gonna
Yeah.
come. Once the item keep it up, the sponsors will come because food is very, attractive. To people who are in that industry. They're always looking for distribution outlets. So I think you'll get that support. What is the Ital culture in Trinidad? Are there a lot of Ital, or I know in the mainstream vegan is the term that a lot of people, or plant-based. Empress Juma, what would you say in terms of just general Trinidad culture? How popular is Ital or vegan or plant-based in Trinidad right now?
From my iris, there's different streams of it, right? The term Ital is becoming more and more popular. Persons associated with Ras Tafari, persons associated with, persons associate Ital Livity and Ital food with the Ras Tafari community, which is correct. And then I would say that there's a niche as well of vegan or plant-based culture, which is not necessarily associated with Rastafari, and that has a lot to do with economics. So we're talking about, boutique shops that sell almost exclusively foreign imports of health food items, right? Like brown rice macaroni, that's like $200 TT. And yes, I could understand you're adding a surcharge, but I've been in some of these shops and the prices are over the top.
Wow.
Really, really, really over the top.
I mean, I don't in US $200 TT or
well,
Canadian.
it's about 7 to 1 right now.
Okay.
Roughly 7.25 TT you're getting for $1 US. With Canadian, it's roughly 5. Right? I mean, it's interesting for me because I live in both places, and I see that merchants don't need to charge that much just in the name of health. There's something going a little bit outside the box with that, and this is where Rastafari again is so crucial, to be at the center of the education movement that accompanies the Ital Food Festival and healthy, sustainable living on its own, right? Because Rastafari teaches us not only about what, your body being your temple, what you put in needs to be intentionally and carefully considered. We need to make proper choices, being kind to the environment. But Rastafari also teaches us self-sustainability and self-governance, which is very different to being dependent on these overpriced health food stores just to feel like you're having a healthy meal, or you can have something plant-based to eat. I mean, we can't talk about education enough. It's just, it's at the center of so many of these different things, so many different areas where we need to go. You know, I want to touch on the same question that you asked Empress Carissa, if there was,
Just going there next.
you know,
Going there
oh,
next.
so the multi-billion-dollar budget.
Yes.
You know, how about Trinidad and Tobago having an Ital Day? You know, the United Nations has World Food Day. How about Trinidad and Tobago itself having an Ital Day? Trinidad and Tobago has, I don't know if it's a competition going on, but we have multiple religious holidays and social and cultural holidays in this country. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 holidays in a given month for the calendar year. How about our government, as Empress Carissa spoke about, bringing the Ital to a national level? How about our government celebrating and honoring Ital Livity or plant-based livity or disease prevention-based nutrition for an entire day? How about implementing plant-based cooking classes and making it mandatory for secondary schools to graduate? How about the Ital Food Festival opening a teaching institution or a series of classes that would be free, right? So that persons, we have we have way too much what they call non-communicable disease in this country, disease that is preventable, avoidable, and it's lack of education and that mental poverty that's at the root of a lot of these diseases that people are suffering from so needlessly. So in order to be able to turn that around, I mean, our government here in Trinidad and Tobago has a long way to go to address these threats to our health on so many levels. But nutrition, as Italists know very well, nutrition is one of the cornerstones of good health. So I would love to see our government, and in turn, you know, the general population, put more emphasis and more love into education about what is plant-based livity, what is healthy livity, how to put together a healthy meal, but also that self-sustainable aspect that Ras Tafari teaches us, that we don't need to rely on anything that's imported. We don't need to rely on anything that comes in a package. We don't need to be consuming things that has 25 different ingredients that we can't pronounce, you know. But then the conversation gets complicated, right? Because all these things, it's so easy for us to see it as evil, but it's also serving another agenda.
Yes.
At the same time, which will not want to loosen its grip so easily like that. So it is a challenge, you know, but these are the ideals that we have to keep the fire burning all the time. These are the ideals that we have to teach our young people about, you know, because what we may not be able to do in this lifetime, we honor them with that mantle, right? And so again, you know, going back to the question of challenges, it's how do we engage young people in particular, who are the ones who have that much quicker access to a whole world of information, because all of them have a cellular device now, and that's a whole life in their hands. So it's young people now, youths, who have access to this world of information, and they're the ones going to bring it home to their parents and to the older generation. So if we can engage particularly with young people, even as early as primary school age, this is also it has the potential to have a great effect on families and family life and family health.
Serious. Our beloved elder is in the comment section. Razola says, "Blessed love, Rastafari family. Great Ital conversation. Rastafari food sovereignty forward." And as I said, it's our duty to introduce this concept to the family, because I think we know about it intuitively, but we have to now be intentional in this Armageddon to prepare and build out this food system. So the festival shouldn't be seen in isolation. It should be seen as a distribution point in a larger food system. Bingy Glenn, next Ras Tafari Naya Bingy Elder in the comments says, perfect love family. May I suggest a vegan, non-bioengineered, plant-based food preparation contest? Do you have any contests as a part of the Ital Food Fest? Huh? Top Ital roti?
It has been something carded in our proposals every year to have a ITIL chef competition. It hasn't been executed in the vision that we have, but last year, 2025, we did crown an ITIL hero who sold the most ITIL that day.
Okay.
You know, but the competition aspect hasn't really been able to come on board as yet.
I would, if not for this year, for next year, I would definitely, have a thing and let the audience taste test and people vote, and because that brings that kind of excitement, and that competitiveness breeds innovation, and what I mean, people come ready to get their cup, their Ital, and that's something that can help to promote.
And with the right funding too, I also wanted to extend that to the regional participants. As you mentioned, Sister Idisha, I had that opportunity to go over to St. Vincent Ital Food Festival. And it was really amazing that they got their government to support, the invitation of us regional chefs to that country, and they footed a good part of the bill as well in terms of paying for some of our airline passage, accommodation, and when we got on the grounds, they helped us with transport. If we needed any cooking utensils, they were able to provide that for us. So I would also like to see, Trinidad host some regional ITIL chefs in Trinidad. And, we have a lot in the region who are really carrying the ITIL, on the social media and in their own little communities, really making it, something attractive and viable. So I would like to invite them to Trinidad in one of our ITIL Fest as well, and show that kind of hospitality that I received in St. Vincent.
I'm in reasoning with Sister Idija about doing a panel, so I know she probably had the eye in mind as well. We want to have a panel because all of these festivals should be connected, in all of the islands there should be an Ital festival. They should be again, we have to start seeing these things as part of a larger Ras Tafari food system, a network. Nothing that we do should be in isolation right now. We must be preparing for the great war that is unfolding, between the great powers. And remember, not all war is bomb and gun. It's economic, it's spiritual, it's, and definitely the earth is in a war footing right now. And when the earth is in a war footing, only the fool does not prepare. And if we cannot feed ourselves, how do we free ourselves? Who feeds you is who controls you, And we are lions, we are not pets. We're not tame. We are lion and lioness, king and queen, emperor, empress. That is the liberty. So I want us to take this very serious. In terms of the vibe in Trinidad right now, how are things looking with what happened in Venezuela? Is there any concern about that interfering with the Ital Fest? What is the vibe on the ground there? Anybody can answer this question?
I will start. Oh, sorry. When Empress Chris and I were reasoning and trying to see how much we could prepare for this interview, we were exchanging comments, and I think both of us agreed. We hope he doesn't ask us to comment about this.
You don't have to answer.
It's not easy. I will say a few words. So it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy right now. One of the greatest concerns that I could speak to is that you know, and the episode that you had, Dijejma, when you interviewed the Ras Tafari panel, is Trinidad Ready for War? That was such an amazing program because that shed light on a lot of things, not only the global politics, you know, and the history of U.S. imperialism in the region, which unfortunately many young people they don't have a grip on that history and that knowledge. So it's difficult for them to, you know, the pressure and the wars and the rumors of wars that Trinidad is dealing with right now. It's difficult for a lot of young people to put this into context. Because they may not have lived to witness or hear about some other major historical events when it comes to this, you know, there's not even colonialism. There's nothing new about it. It's straight colonialism. It's straight Babylonian tactics. It's not easy for people right now in Trinidad because there's a widespread illiteracy towards global events on the whole. So this is a moment where we can see how it's painfully obvious that part of our culture, which, you know, a lot of ones celebrate with the festivities and they laugh it off and rum till I die. But, you know, those of us who look at life more seriously, more responsibly, will realize how much of a tragedy it is. So it's difficult to say because the government has people in a kind of haze right now. What's going on? They don't know what's really true. They don't know what's not true. 1 minute is a radar in Tobago. The next minute, the government is having people in all kind of different grips right now. With police and military action. I think that is also serving as a big distraction now because people don't have time to study no war or no radar that was installed in Tobago because right now people are fighting a dread fight just to be able to work and live and support their families on a daily basis without getting ticketed, without getting fined. So what I noticed is that the government is just shifting
the focus.
But it's all about policing and controlling people now, including controlling people's opinions, controlling people's comfort level, in speaking out, in asking tough questions. So all in all, it's difficult to say how this will affect the Ital Food Festival and other events like it. But look at it. Carnival is coming up very soon. That doesn't seem to be a topic. You know, Carnival is going to happen. It may happen in a much more exclusive way, but it's going to happen. Money's going to flow in the country. People need that money. They're going to use that money. And, you know, we're going to see what happens next.
Well, prayerfully it stayed peaceful.
Yes,
you know, this is the Lion Voice, so we have to give some Gideon talk with thing because we are Ras Tafari, and the people are looking to us to have that far vision of what's happening and Babylon and, you know, the resistance and the uprising. And the Ital Fest in itself is a revolution, or it is an evolution and a resistance to the food poisoning that is taking place. You know what I mean? So we have to touch on it. I don't know if Empress Carissa want to touch on it. You don't have to. But if you want to block us out of it.
Well, I will say that, you know, the food system is really toxic, you know, on all levels. It is very toxic. And Ital Food Festival really centers, you know, the upliftment, the wellness aspect. And food is at the center of all of us. We eat every single day. So there's always going to be relevance for food and health. You know, we embrace the idea that eating more plants is healthier for our systems as well as for the planet. So it has a lot of background in it, you know, a lot of relevance despite what may be going on politically or globally. You know, it affects us on the ground. Ital Food Festival will be able to penetrate and make its places relevant, you know, and in so doing, you know, we will foster healthier communities, you know, a healthier national population, you know, and hopefully preserve our environment. Right after Carnival, there's a period of fasting for Catholics. You know, there may be, I think, Ramadan approaching. And I wanted to say that too, that in Trinidad and Tobago, our culture is rooted in a lot of plant food, and during many different religious times, fasting from meat and dairy and alcohol is something that is encouraged,
Okay.
So I also try to time the festival in that period of time when people will be looking for alternatives to their
Okay.
regular diet.
Strategic. I love it. Very strategic. It's a blessing to know that the item are thinking on that level as a chess play, to make sure you have it in the fasting time. That's a brilliant idea. I really am impressed by the item. Again, stepping forward, I know the sacrifice it takes to put on an event to this scale, to build the brand year after year, especially before the sponsorship comes in, the outer pocket, the this and the that, the running around. And both of the item have families, so I know how challenging that it can be. And I want to just give the item the encouragement. The Lion Voice Network is here for the item as a platform to come and share. This is why we built the platform, so that we would have the ability to have the ones them know about what the item are doing. To our Trinidad Lion Pride, because we have a good following in Trinidad, please support these sisters. You know what I mean? Don't just watch. Go to the event, spend some money, and I hope that this can encourage the true conversation about what is the food system in Trinidad look like from a Rastafari perspective. And speaking of that, are the item capturing data? Because that is also very important in terms of mapping the sponsors, having a spreadsheet with the farmers, having all the categories of different stakeholders. I know the I train with the African food basket. So me know say the I paperwork sharp, Empress Juma. Me know that because me know how the things set. How of the item or are the item collecting that data? Because I think this is critical that we use this to now start the conversation about mapping our Rastafari food system, making sure that the farmers, we know who's farming. If there's an emergency, we know said this person have the greens, this person have the ground provisions, this person, you know what I mean? Is that happening? And if not, can that start this year? Empress Juma, I'm coming to the eye. Oh, you want talk? You want take it, Empress Carissa? Empress Juma, I'm coming to the eye.
All right, give thanks. Yes, the mapping, the data collection, the administration is happening.
Beautiful.
Every year it will get a little stronger as we say, as we continue to build that team.
Yes.
Administration and these kind of, boring behind the scenes work is absolutely crucial. Even when we speak about, as African people, we take so much pride in our oral history, which is
Yes.
really important, but we need to balance it out with proper documentation.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely, that is happening. Empress Chris has done a great job of, starting that mapping from the first year.
Okay.
So it's nice now to be able to link with her and see that okay, there's certain documents that we might need. We don't need to create it from scratch. We can look at what was previously done and build off of it or build on it.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely, that mapping and the documentation is really, really important, and it is happening. It will continue to get stronger, and we need this information to be able to legitimize the process more and more. If a particular funder was approached, they're always asking for data. They want to know, well, how do we know that what you're doing is impacting people, and how many people would you? So we definitely have that experience from the African Food Basket and the whole, nonprofit and
Yes.
what do you call it, social enterprise realm. of things. Yeah, so that's definitely a commitment that the Ital Food Festival is sticking to.
And Empress Sharon said that you are a data collection specialist. You see, Empress Sharon, she chanting for the eye. Do I want to add anything to that, Empress Carissa, in terms of mapping and data collection?
It hasn't been easy taking the time to do it, but we know the value of it, and my background is in events and communication, so I
Okay.
enjoy what I do. I enjoy
Okay.
it 100%. My background was I was trained in the corporate sector to do
Okay.
events, so
Okay.
I would put in the right amount of time in certain areas, and Empress Juma would tidy that up and make sure it's, in the correct order as well. So we give thanks for,
Okay.
everything in the fullness,
Yeah,
this
man.
moment
Yeah, man.
prepared
It's a
me for
lot. It's a
this.
lot to do.
Yeah.
Everything is a lot, and that's why I'm glad that the item are working together as sistren, and that Empress Men and Rising is also there, and others, and delegating the work and the tasks is so crucial. So I'm just saying that because every Rastafari institution right now should be mapping, should be getting data together. We're at that stage of the movement. I think the early part of the movement was the mystical trad, and we were just treading and grounding, that groundation. But now I tell people that we are in an industrial age now. We have to create industry because we have to be able to employ our youths them. If we don't employ our children, we're going to lose them. And we can't feel good as a community sending our youths out into Babylon. We burn in Babylon, and then when they get to be adults, we have no employment. There's no way for them to make money within our community. So we have to create that industry in everything that we're doing. And you cannot have an industry without data. You cannot have an industry without structure. And a lot of time people would say these things are Babylon, and this is a false concept, and this is one of the things as the Lion Voice Network we come to cramp, cripple, and paralyze these false concepts that have us thinking that disorder is Rastafari or the Irites don't have structure. You know what I mean? When His Majesty have 5-year plans, development plans for Ethiopia, His Majesty had an economic development plan that you can pull up online and see it. You know what I mean? These things are structure. So I love to hear that the item are collecting the data. I love to hear that the item are mapping. And again, I'm just encouraging the item to see this festival as part of a larger food system, and because you've already started, it might fall to the item to map this system. You know what I mean? And somehow to integrate it into the larger network. We definitely will be connecting the item with others because the Ital certification standard is being developed, and we want to make sure that all of these festivals are in alignment with the festival, the standard that's being developed. Ras Zola is a part of that effort. Ras Huge from the CRO is part of that effort. And we have other ones who are part of that effort from all over the earth creation, who are participating in putting together ITAL certification standards. So that has to be a part. And with the webathon that's coming up in Jamaica, part of the development strategy for the Rastafari centers surrounds food systems, making sure that all our Rastafari centers have food, some type of food growing, that is growing according to the ITAL standard. Because again, we have to prepare for what is coming, and we cannot be dependent on the shipping to always be there. And if the shipping breaks down, what does it look like for us in the Caribbean, for our family in the Caribbean? Are we going to starve, or are we at least able to feed ourselves and possibly feed others, which could be a source of wealth in the time of famine? We look in the Bible with Joseph sent to Kemet, and when there was drought, because he had the vision. He stored the grain, and when the drought came, you know what I mean, he was able to sell to the surrounding kingdoms and greatly enrich Egypt. You know, I have to have the vision now to know now is a time of work and heart and putting our food in the ground, cold storage. Are the item familiar with the ones in VI who just had their festival, the Bordeaux Ital, I think it's called the
We
Bordeaux.
grow food.
Yes, we grow food. Are the item familiar with those ones?
Well, yes, we heard. Well, I'm not sure about Empress Carissa if the I know them besides this year, but I just learned about them this year through actually Brother Zola. He had
Yes.
sent the flyer, and I shared it with the Ital Food Festival team, and we were enthusiastic about inviting, one of the representatives, even the elder,
Yes.
Sister Bonetta Adib. I mean, I
Yeah.
read up a little bit about her online, and I told Empress Chris, I said, this is one of my heroes who we haven't met as yet,
Yes. Have you
and
seen
just to
her
see.
interview on the Lion Voice? Have you seen her interview on the Lion Voice Network?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
know that you had interviewed her already, my lord. I didn't see that
I'll
one.
send it to the eye. I'm gonna send it to the eye. I'll get
Yes,
your
I please
information.
do. So we've sent them official invitations. Hopefully, maybe a representative will hear this interview.
Yes.
Check your inbox. We have sent official invitations, which we will follow up. But that's a beautiful in sample of the type of networking that we'd like to be able to continue to do,
Definitely.
especially within the region. I mean, these people are giants. These
Yes. And
people are real unsung heroes.
they have a physical space they were able to build out. They have cold storage. They have regular farmers markets, outside of this festival. So and it's solar powered off the grid setup that they have there. It's very, very powerful. I'll share the episode. You can see Mama Bonita talks about it. We're also arranging a panel. So keep in tune to this channel. We're gonna have a panel of the ones them come on to give a report on this year's festival. But one of the missions I have as Lion Voice Network is to connect all of the IDEM who are doing similar works, because some of the cross pollination, it has to come from I and I, you know what I mean? So maybe next year We Grow Food can sponsor, the more further along can sponsor. They tap into different funding. Maybe the IDEM can link with other ones in St. Vincent, other places. But if everybody who's in the same area, only good things can happen if there's that reasoning that's taking place, and also best practices can be shared. I'm a big believer in best practices and not reinventing the wheel and having the item have to, fall where somebody else can say, watch that little bump right there, so, and then also a proof of concept. You the item can show your government when you're doing your pitches to the government. You can show the examples in the other islands, because we know that governments are follow fashion and they're very competitive. So you can say, look how much revenue is being generated in St. Vincent, and why don't we have this, and look what we've done already. So that is the role I want to play. So I definitely, if the item need that introduction, I am very willing. Ras Zola can do the same. But we definitely want that interconnectivity, and I'll probably arrange some panel discussions with all of the players on a panel so that the item can also share. So that is beautiful. So there you have it, family. I'm going to give the item a chance to say some final word sounds. I hope that the item have a link or somewhere where people outside, and if not, I'm giving the item homework so that the next time you come on this platform before the festival, that you have a donation link or some kind of link that people from outside, because what I want is that when we have events, regardless of their local events, the Lion Pride, we can give our strength, because these organizers put their blood, sweat, and tears into the event, and a lot of time after the event done and everybody feel nice, their pocket is very weak because they've put everything into the event to build. And it would be nice to know that internationally, I can come collectively and say we give thanks for the work and we flood them with some money that they can replenish their stores and then also reinvest for the next year, you know. So that's my vision. I'm going to continue to chant that 60,300 subscribers in the Lion Pride. I don't want it just as a vanity. I want the item work and make we rise the nation. You know what I mean? So that being said, give us some final word sound. Anyone wants to go first, and then we'll go from there.
Blessed love, give thanks for the listening audience tonight. Give thanks for everybody. Love and support and, you know, rallying with us to spread the Ital Livity. You know, I just wanted to highlight for us that Ital meant to no animal products, nothing that was alive and had blood in it. You know, and even within the Ras Tafari community, you know, we would like to see ones and ones aspiring to reach that level of respect for the life source, you know. And the Ital Food Fest is, you know, as we mentioned, it is a value-based microeconomy, you know, and we want to highlight cooperation over competition and all the good things, you know, regeneration over extraction and waste, reducing the waste, you know, even and I want to highlight too that, you know, a plant-based or plant-rich food system is a viable way of living. You know, it's not a fad diet or anything that needs to be proven. Um, and it will reduce non-communicable diseases and foster better health. Give thanks.
Give thanks, give thanks. And Razola says the Bordeaux Farmers Rastafari Agricultural and Cultural Vegan Food Fair. Big up all of our family in St. Thomas, Rock City. Walete Medehen Royal Daughter say whole one down south Empresses. They want it down south. How far is down south from Port of Spain?
It's just about an hour away, and south we come in. We come in before the year end, because that's my hometown.
Yeah, that's where the activations would come in now, leading up to the big festival in Port of Spain. The Now Church, big up, bless up to the Empresses. Ital is vital. Keep the fire burning. Rastafari, big up yourself. Lion Pride checking in from all sides. Give thanks to everyone watching live. I love the community that we're building, how the ones them are tapping in. Make sure you share the episodes widely. Make sure that them help us to build. We want a first-class Rastafari independent non-aligned media platform. We feel that we deserve a top-quality platform all over the world where we can have correspondence. We need to be have correspondence at the Ital Food Fest. Imagine we could afford to have our camera crew go to the Ital Food Fest and to document and, you know, having features. That's the vision I have for the platform. What we're doing now, we're still in our early uprising, and it's going to be all funded by the Lion Pride. So we give thanks. You see the Lion Pride asking donation. Roots ready, you know. Roots don't play around, you know. So we're gonna give them homework, Roots. Don't worry, we're going to get them right. Trust me. Empress Juma, give us your final word sound.
Give thanks, blessed love. Well, you know, once again, we give thanks for life. We give thanks for Ras Tafari for making all things possible, for bringing I together on this platform. We give thanks for the Lion Voice, you know, who has championed and been a real leaderful platform for I Rastafari to share knowledge, you know, to show love to one another, support for one another. And this particular episode definitely felt no different. you know. So I give thanks for the naturalness of this reasoning. I look
Yes.
forward to more. I give thanks for the Ital Food Festival family, Empress Carissa, her family, all the other team members, you know, who have been working so diligently, giving their creative energy, their time, you know. Give thanks even to Empress Men and Rising as well, which has really, you know, since we formed nearly 5 years ago, has been cultivating that leadership, you know, and that potential, that unity, and that willingness to serve. You know, it's been really, really important. Can't state enough how much we need to continue to cultivate that culture of service, you
Yes.
know, amongst Rastafari, and also be able to balance it out with enterprise, self-governance, you know, and sovereignty in as many areas as we can manage. You know, food sovereignty is particularly important. I remember, you know, within working in the African food basket, we always used to say, after the Almighty, the next most important thing to human life is food. And even as Empress Carissa mentioned, you know, we all have to eat every day. And as we have been reasoning about, it is not a topic to sweep under the rug or to take lightly. It's just as important as the air we breathe, the thoughts that we think, you know. So I want to encourage everyone to re-examine our relationship with food, re-examine our relationship with where our food is coming from, see how much food we can provide for ourselves and in our own communities, and let the transformation begin with our loved ones, because unfortunately, you know, we all have family members now or loved ones who are dealing with these diseases, which are fully preventable, right? So from the aspect of disease prevention, living longer, living happier, living healthier, you know, let us continue to embrace and learn more about the Ital Livity or plant-based Livity. Let's continue to support events like the Ital Food Festival. And if you're in a community where there is no Ital Food Festival as yet, you know, definitely the resources are there, the support is there to start a little movement, as small as it might begin. You know, I definitely believe that certain changes in consciousness, you know, has to happen, already is happening. The seeds have been planted, you know, so it's up to I and I, as the generations continue, it's up to I and I to do what we can, do the best that we can, you know. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Powerful. Before we seal up, I just want to big up my colleague in the Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media, Ija Stars. Go follow him on YouTube. He's another content creator. He's one of the foundation Rastafari platforms on YouTube, but we came after his platform. Honorable Priest Isaac is another platform. All of these brethren have been doing the work, so we have to support all of them. But I want to just give Ija Star time to just block a sound to the global family. Hold on there.
Open your eyes and wake up now, my people. See what Hurricane Melissa did to my people.
My people, RMO, Rastafari Mansion and Organization in association with Dark, EWF, CRO, RCC, IDOR, Tran, Global Run present a fundraising webinar called Relief, Rebuild and Rise, the Rastafari community in response to Hurricane Melissa devastation of Jamaica. Sunday, February 1st, 2026. Time 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. This is not to be missed. Featuring Prince Ermiah Sehel Selassie, Dr. Julius Garvey, Sister Carol, Julian Marley, Rocky Dehoney, Empress Sativa, Gramps Morgan, Kabaka Pyramid, Yami Bolo, Muta Baruka, Janine, Spraga Benz, Riza Islam, Priest Kailash, Dr. Bobby Holistic. This is in aid of rebuilding Rastafari centers as hub for relief, recovery and resilience. As His Majesty say, we must become something we have never been. Greater in spirit, larger in outlook. Most High, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. See you there.
I take 32 Rastafari institutions coming together for one cause. These are the days we dreamt about as young Rasses, to see the unification of all Rastafari. I don't know what people thought would happen when the Armageddon turned on, if we would fold like a folding chair, that we would go sit down somewhere. But that's not going to happen because the lions are here, we are here, and we are aware, and we are ready to prepare for what is to come. And the Ital Food Fest, all of these things are part of a larger uprising, a larger movement. Even the appearance on the global scene of the Lion Voice Network is a part of a larger plan unfolding, which was started in 1892 with the birth of Ras Tafari Makonnen, and manifest physical into a global movement where now the Lion of Judah flag fly on every continent. Rastafari live in the hearts and continue to spread from sea to shining sea, from the rivers to the ends of the earth. I and I are the testament. I and I are the remnant, and we won't stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Blessed love, this is Ras Shiloh representing for the Lion's Voice. Seeing? Yeah, man. Keep it locked right there, sir. On to Zion we go. Lion voice don't move slow, no. Rastafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right there, sir. Seeing? Ras Shiloh said that. Lion's Voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like Title. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Empress Manel, and I young scientist. You're universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Yo, blazing fire, yeah man, this is Ras Indio out of Belize. And the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. Right? Yeah, man. We blaze fire, burning the wicked and the dirty vampire. Yeah, man. Ras Indio said that. Blazing fire, lion boy.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.